Hi, hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this lecture, I am going to explain about static modifier, what are static methods, how to initialize the code in blocks. There are two categories in initialization of blocks, instance block, static block. We'll see one by one. Static modifier. Static modifier, it is used to create variables and methods that will exist independently of any instance created for the class. All static members exist before ever make a new instance of a class, and there will be one copy of a static member. All instances of a given class share the same value for any given static variable. We'll see the example of static variable, how it is useful. I'm going to the static editor. I'm creating a file. I'm giving a file name as college. In this, I'm creating a variable, count variable. First, I'm creating a non-static variable, and also I'm creating a constructor. Constructor is same as class name, but it is a special method. In the constructor, I'm incrementing my variable. I'm printing it system.out.println. I'm printing the value here. Value of count is equal to count. I'm printing it here. This code will execute when we create an object for the class. In the main method, I am creating a object for the class. I am creating a object college csc1 is equal to new college. When I am creating object, it executing the code here, count plus plus and system.out.println value of count, it gets printing. I'm creating one more object here. To understand the difference between static modifier and instance, it1 csc2. Let me save this code. I'm saving this file name as college.java. I'm compiling with that name, Java C. The name of the file is college.java. Yeah, it's compiling. Java college. I'm running it. Here it is printing value of count 111 because it is a instance. The instance is object level. The variable is an instance variable. If you change it to the static here, static in static, then the static is always class level. Static is always class level. Here, let me compile this code. Now this time I'm getting value of count is equal to 1, value of count is equal to 2, value of count is equal to 3, because this static value commonly shared by all the objects here. Every time the copy of the data is shared by all the object, is updated value is carried out by the another object, updated value is carried out by the another object, because it is a class level. In the class level, the count value is 0. That's why you are getting the count value is 1, 2, 3. This is all about static modifier. This is what static modifier declares that a class member belongs to a class rather than to instance of the class. This static field is all the static variables are storing in the memory called static memory, which is class level field. So it is said by all the object. What things can be marked as static? What things cannot be declared as static? Here the method can be declared as static, variable can be declared as static, a class nested within another class, we can create that class as a static but not within a method. If the method within a method, that method cannot be declared as a static. The class can be declared as static if the class is nested with another class. Initialization blocks. Blocks can be marked as static. We can declare as static also. These things can be declared as static in Java. What things cannot declared as static? Constructors cannot be declared as static. There is no sense to create a constructor as static because the constructors are used only to create instances which are used to initialize the values to the variables. For that purpose you are using the constructor. The constructor will be called when we create an object for the class. Classes. The class cannot be declared as static until unless that class is not a nested one. Interfaces cannot be declared as static. Method, local, that's what the method within the method that cannot be declared as static. These four things cannot be declared as static. Local variable can also be we cannot declare this local variable as static. That is also not possible. These things cannot be declared as static. See the example. This example I already explained. So here we'll get the output 1 1 1. Here we'll get the output 1 2 3. This is static. What are Java static methods? Java static methods. We'll see. I'll explain with an example. This one also. Let me go to the editor. I am creating one more file. Class. My class name is calculate. This is my class name. I am defining the method static int cube. I am passing the parameter through the method. Return x into x. So this method is static method. I am defining one more method which is non-static method. This is my non-static method. I am printing a message in the non-static method system.out.println mathematical operations. Just I am printing the message here, mathematical operations. Now I am printing calling the method directly here system.out.println. I am calling my static method cube directly here, cube of 5. I am calling the non-static method in a static method. Let me compile this. What output will get for this? I am saving the class name as calculate.java. Let me go to the edit command prompt. Should give the class name as calculate. It is giving an error because non-static method cannot be called in a static context. Whether it could be a static method, whether it could be a static block. That's why a method can be defined as static using a keyword called static keyword. This method is defined as a static using a keyword called static keyword. A static method belongs to the class. This static method belongs to the class. Here, this is the static method. Directly I am calling in the static block or static method directly without creating object for this class. Here I am getting error because non-static method cannot be called in static method. Suppose to access this non-static method, we are supposed to create an instance for this class. Then with that object we can access this method. I am creating instance now. To access this, calculate C1 is equal to new calculate. This is my class name. I am creating object for this to call to access my non-static method C1 dot display. Now let me see. I'm compiling this. Now I'm not getting any error. Yeah, it is successfully executing this. This is static. A static method can access static data member. A static method. This is my static method. This static method can access static data member, and also we can change the value of it. We can also change the value of static. Now what I'll do now, int, I'm just creating one static data member, static int num is equal to 5. Here I'm changing num is equal to 12. Let me print this. I'm printing this num compile this. Now as I told you, static method can access static data member, and also we can change the value of it. Initially I have the value 5, it got changed to 12 directly in a static method printing 12. This is about static method and static variable. There are some restrictions for static methods. Restrictions for static method. Static method cannot use non-static data member, as I have given the example, or call non-static method directly. This is one restriction. This and super cannot used in static context. We cannot use these two keywords in static context. And the static method can access only static type data, that is static type instance variable only. Let me see one more example here. This is my static method simple example. I have two variables. One is instance variable, the other one is a static variable. I have a non-static method show data, which is printing value of A, value of B, and another one is static method display data. I'm creating object for the class to access the non-static variable in a static block. As I told you, if the instance variable supposed to access in any static block or in static method, we have to create we have to access with only object only. That's why I created object here. See, a static non-static method can call static and non-static variable directly within the class. Now you can access A, B directly in a non-static method. Now coming to static method. A static method can call only static variable directly. This B is a static variable. We can access directly without any object. Now suppose to access A value, we have to create the object for that. Non-static variable can be accessed only with the help of object only. Coming to the last one here, display data. Display data is what? Display data is a static method that can be called directly in the static method. Now coming to the show data. Show data is not a static method. We cannot call this static method directly in the static block or static method. That's why static method can directly call another static method, but non-static method can be called using only object. So these things you have to remember. Static methods can read and act upon static variables. Static methods cannot read and act upon instance variables. Static variable is a variable whose single copy is shared by all the objects. Static methods are declared using a keyword called static. Static methods can be called using object name dot method name or else class name dot method name. From any object, if static variable is modified, it affects all the objects. These things we have to remember regarding static and instance variables. Why Java main method is static? Now coming to this, because in every program, so in a class the method is main method is a static. Why it is static? Because object is not required to call static method if it were non-static methods. That's why here this static method can be called in any static block without creating any object for the class. Java create object first, that is JVM create object first. Your JVM creates object first, then call the main method. JVM itself is creating the object, then calling the main method. That will lead the problem of extra memory allocation. That's why, so we have to give the main method as static. Initialization blocks. We can place our code in three places. One place is a constructor, one place is method, another one is a block. Initialization blocks can come in two flavors. One is static initialization, the other one is instance initialization. We'll see the example, this static initialization blocks, instance initialization blocks. Let me see the example. I'll open the editor. I am giving the example for static first. Class, I'm giving the class name as A. I'm creating a static block. We can place our code in the static block. System dot out dot print ln. Static block 1 is invoked. I'm invoking the first one, first block invoked. I'm creating one more static block here, static block 2, static block 2. This is, I'm changing to static main method. I'm saving this as a1.java for naming convention. You should give that. Now what output will get for this? In case of initialization of static blocks here, it is executing the blocks one after another. First it is executing the static blocks, then executing the main method block. First it is printing static block 1 is invoked, then static block 2 is invoked, then after it is printing static main method. Let me see, compile this. I'm compiling the name a1.java. It's compiling. I'm running with that name. It's executing first block, static block 1, because all the static blocks are loaded before loading the main method. Static block 1, static block 2, main method. This is all about static initialization blocks. Now coming to the instance. Instance means what? I'm giving renaming it this class, defining with the A2. I should remove static here. Removing static here, and block 1, this is, I'm just change it to block 2, and also I'm defining constructor. Constructor is same as your class name. System dot out dot println. This is constructor. Printing the I'm changing it to my class name a2.java. Let me run this code. What it will print? In case of non-static blocks, first executing the instance. This instance blocks. Let me see what output will get. Is printing only static method. That is what instance blocks get executed only when we create object for the class, because the instance means what? It will invoke with the help of only class object only. So we have to, the constructor is calling when object is created. I'm creating object for this class obj is equal to new A2. Then we'll see what output we'll get for this. Now this time it is executing block 1 is invoked, block 2 is invoked, then constructor, then static main method. These are all instances of static blocks and instance blocks. Example we have seen. What are the advantages of static blocks? The advantage of static blocks, if you are loading any drive, because whenever you want to execute the code only once, we can use the static blocks. For example, we are loading drivers and other items into the namespace, we can use the static blocks. The class has a static block where it registers the natives. It requires only first time only. The registration is required only once. This is register the native. If you need to do computations in order to initialize your static variables, so we can also use the static blocks. You can declare a static block which gets executed exactly once when the class is first loaded. The main purpose of static blocks or static methods here, security related issues, we can related issues related things we can put it in the static block because that will execute only once. So serialization logging related task we can put it in the static blocks. This is all about static block initialization and instance block initialization. Can we execute a program without main method? So most of the time we'll get a doubt here because suppose to execute a main method, so can we execute a main method without any can we execute a program without any main method? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible in Java. One of the way is a static block, that's what I have explained you. But in previous versions of JDK 6 this is possible. JDK 6 and onwards this is not possible. So class A3 static system.out.println static block is invoked. The static block is invoked. This is possible only JDK before JDK 6. This is possible. We can execute our program. We can run our program without any main method. This is with only static block we can run our program. We can execute our program. In JDK 6 new version, the above will get the output like this. Main method not found in class A3. Please define main method as public static void main. So this error will get it in the previous program. So if you don't have a main method, this is all about the static modifier, static method, static variables, instance variables, and a static block initialization, instance blocking. This is a summary of my lecture. So I have covered the program general structure that I explained in the previous lecture. You can go through that previous my videos to understand the program structure, what how to define a program, so what classes, so we can put it in the .java file. That is what is the structure of the programs. To understand that we should you should go through my video. Then static modifier, what is static modifier, what is static, the class is the method is static, what is happening, what the variable is static, what is happening, that I have covered. Static method. Initialization of blocks, flavor into two parts here, static blocks and instance blocks. This is my summary of my lecture. Thank you very much. Please like and share my channel and subscribe my channel. So if you want to see more videos about my channel, please subscribe my